Can you survive after falling into a volcano crater? Why do aviation services around the world warn each other about impending eruptions? This footage was taken on the island of Ambrym in the Pacific nation of Vanuatu. Documentary filmmaker Sam Kosman and extreme traveler George Kourounis approached the very crater of the active and highly dangerous Maroom volcano. Nowadays, stunning footage of molten lava can be captured using drones with video cameras, but true art demands sacrifice. Therefore, the brave researchers themselves descended into the blazing inferno. Kosman and Kourounis donned special heat-resistant suits, used safety ropes, and repeatedly discussed their actions in various situations with instructors. However, Philippa Carroll's life had not prepared her for such an adventure. If someone had told the American that his surname would be flashing across all the world's media, he would hardly have believed it, just as he wouldn't have believed that it's possible to fall into Vesuvius and survive. In July 2022, Philip Carroll and two of his relatives went on a tour to the famous Italian volcano, the very one that destroyed Pompeii and several other ancient Roman cities. Vesuvius is still considered active, although the last eruption was 80 years ago. Volcanoes come in three types: active, dormant, or extinct. The greatest danger is posed by active volcanoes. These are usually conical volcanoes that eject lava or volcanic gases onto their surface. Dormant volcanoes are the second type. They are not currently active, but under certain conditions could become active in the future. And the third type is extinct volcanoes. They pose no threat to humans. During tours of the fire-breathing mountains, tourists are always warned: obey the guides unconditionally and do not deviate from the route. Philip Carroll and his relatives disregarded this rule. They lagged behind the group and approached the very edge of the volcano's crater to take a selfie. The American couldn't hold on to his phone. It slipped out of his hands and, to the owner's horror, flew straight into the crater, and Carroll himself followed suit. The young man jerked to catch the gadget, lost his balance, and tumbled into the abyss. Fortunately, he got stuck after falling a few meters. Soon, the guides came to the rescue, lowering a rope into the crater. He received numerous scratches on his body, which just goes to show that nature does not forgive mistakes. It would have been easier to leave the phone where it lay and think first and foremost about personal safety. 23-year-old Philip Carroll was very lucky that Vesuvius is a dormant volcano. But what would happen if a person fell directly into lava? Theoretically, according to the laws of physics, they should ignite even before reaching the molten mass, as its temperature exceeds 1,000 degrees. And as is known, organic substances ignite at 500 to 600 degrees. German volcanologist Richard Roscoe decided to test the theory in practice. Richard Roscoe, a researcher from Germany, threw a 30-kilogram bag of natural waste into the vent of the Ethiopian volcano Erta Ale. The bag fell and did not ignite. The bag even left an imprint on the surface of the lava. However, after a few seconds, it was still engulfed in flames. Roscoe concluded, for some time, water prevented ignition, as there is some amount of liquid in the composition of any organic matter. First, all the water evaporated, and then the bag of natural waste caught fire. The same applies to a human. A human is 80% water. Consequently, upon falling into a volcano vent, they have a 99.9% chance of perishing in the same manner. It might seem that 0.1% is negligible, but there is at least one documented case of a person falling into molten lava and surviving. This occurred on August 21, 2007 in Tanzania at the active volcano Ol Doinyo Lengai. A porter fell into the crater during a tour, in full view of the entire group. When he was pulled out, witnesses couldn't believe their eyes. The young man suffered severe burns to his hands and feet. But that was all. How is this even possible? Scientists explain, the secret lies in the unique characteristics of the lava from this particular volcano. There are different types of lava. Depending on their chemical and physical state, they have different boiling temperatures. There are some types of lava where the temperature of the flowing lava is 400 degrees, similar to the volcano in Tanzania. Such lava even looks different from others, not fiery red, but dark and viscous. This is what saved the porter from certain death. Moreover, the guy didn't panic. To avoid contact with the hot mass, he threw a bag under his feet and waited for help in that position, which, fortunately, didn't take long to arrive. Volcanoes can be extremely dangerous even at a great distance, not only for those on the ground but also in the air. On June 24, 1982, a British Airways plane was flying the London-Auckland route. When the airliner was over the Indian Ocean south of the island of Java, passengers suddenly smelled a strong odor of sulfur. Smoke began to fill the cabin. Soon it became clear. The plane had entered a cloud of ash. It was suddenly ejected by the awakened Indonesian volcano Galunggung. Volcanic particles damaged the engines and clogged them to such an extent that eventually the engines stopped working. The aircraft's flight engineer, as well as the co-pilot, attempted to restart the engines several times. At that moment, since all engines had shut down, the pilots had a choice: either land the plane on water or fly towards the mountain peaks. They tried to calculate the wind strength and the angle at which they could make a landing. Fortunately, this story has a happy ending. At an altitude of 3,000 meters, a real miracle occurred. Unexpectedly, 3 out of 4 engines started. The airliner made it to the nearest airport in Jakarta, the capital of Indonesia. The 263 people on board the plane got away with a clearly not easy, but just a scare. After this incident, information about volcanic eruptions began to be promptly transmitted to all aviation services. The pilots of the airliner received state awards, and the British airline changed the flight route to avoid flying over the dangerous volcano in the future. At the end of last year, scientists modeled how volcanic ash emissions affect turbofan aircraft engines and found out what needs to be done to save the airliner if it ends up in a danger zone. Employees of the Research Polytechnic University calculated reducing the thrust of aircraft engines to low power in a volcanic cloud slows down the formation of deposits on the nozzle apparatus. Scientists advise pilots who find themselves in such an emergency situation not to try to rise above the emission zone, but to leave it at low thrust with a 180-degree turn. What do you think about it? Share your thoughts in the comments. Your opinion is very important to me. Don't forget to give me a like if you liked it and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss new episodes. Thanks for watching and see you in the next video.